Today's objective is I can solve subtraction word problems by using the standard algorithm. So two really important things here. We are subtracting. A strategy that we have already used to subtract is by drawing base 10 pictures in a place value chart. Now that we know how to use that strategy, we are learning how to solve subtraction using the standard algorithm. The standard algorithm is just a fancy word for a step-by-step procedure to find the answer. So we've already learned the standard algorithm for addition, where we stack two numbers on top of each other and add. The standard algorithm for subtraction looks similar in that we stack our numbers by place value and subtract. Now that we are in 4th grade, we are working with 6-digit numbers. So we are going to be subtracting and regrouping with 6-digit numbers. Our problem says, what is the difference between 12,627 and 16,232? The first thing that stands out to me is this vocab word, difference. When we are finding the difference, we are finding the result of subtracting one number from another. The difference is just an answer to a subtraction problem. So when I see this vocab word, it tells me that we are subtracting. Our strategy for today is subtraction using the standard algorithm. So we are going to use this anchor chart to the left to help us solve. Our first step says determine the larger number and place on top. This step is so important. When we are subtracting with standard algorithm, the larger number has to be on top. So let's look at our two numbers, 12,627 and 16,232. In both numbers, we have a digit up to the 10,000s place. In both numbers, the digit in the 10,000s place is 1. So this does not help me compare, so I move to the next greatest place value, the thousands place. In my first number, we have a 2 in the thousands place, and in the second number, we have a 6 in the thousands place. I know that a 6 in the thousands place has a greater value than a 2 in the thousands place, so the larger number is 16,232. So that number is going to go on top. Now I'm going to stack the smaller number right underneath. 12,627. My numbers are stacked by place value. My ones are above my ones, my tens place are stacked, my hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s. So step 2, stack numbers by lining up place values. We have done that. Moving on to step 3. Step 3 says compare each place value and box the larger number. So we are going to look at each place value and decide which number is greater or which digit is greater. So first, looking in the ones place, 2 and 7. I know that 7 is greater than 2, so we box it. Moving to the tens place, 3 and 2. I know that 3 is greater than 2, so I box it. Now the hundreds place. I have a 2 and a 6 in the hundreds place. 6 is greater than 2, so I box it. Next up, the thousands place. I have a 6 and a 2 in the thousands place. We know that 6 is greater than 2, so I box it. And then in the 10,000s place, I have a 1 and a 1. 1 is equal to 1, so I do not have a greater value. I don't have to box anything in the 10,000s place. Boxing the larger value in each place value helps me visualize what I will have to do before we subtract. So I know that if I have more on the floor, which means my greater value is on the bottom, it tells me that I need to go to the next place and borrow 10 more. That tells me we have to regroup. When we have more on top, it means we are ready to subtract and that we do not have to regroup. So already when I'm looking at this problem, I can see that in 2 different places, I have a greater value on the bottom. This tells me that we'll have to regroup. So let's start. Step 4 tells me to subtract beginning in the ones column. It is so important that we start subtracting in the ones place. So looking at the ones place, 2 and 7. I have more on the floor, so I have to go next door and borrow 10 more. So I go next door to the tens place and I borrow from 3. When I borrow from 3, we're taking 1 away, so I'm left with 2. Now when I'm regrouping and giving that group of 10 to my 2, we are adding 10 more. 2 plus 10 is 12. Now I have more on top, so I can subtract. 12 minus 7 is 5. Moving to my tens place. 2 minus 2 is 0. Now we are in the hundreds place. 2 minus 6. We have more on the floor, so we need to go next door and borrow 10 more. We are regrouping. So when we move to the thousands place, we are borrowing a group. When we are borrowing, we are taking away. So I'm taking 1 away from 6. So we are left with 5. Now when I am giving that group to 2, I'm adding on 10. So 2 plus 10 is 12. 12 minus 6 is 6. I bring down my comma. 5 minus 2. We have more on top, so I am good to subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. Moving to the 10,000s place, 1 minus 1 is 0. So the difference between 12,627 and 16,232 is 3,605.